MEQuest. Mentorship with care.
All right, thank you for being a part of our program. For those who are joining us for the first time, it's still a good time for you to move along with us. All we've done on the first day was just a general introduction to what the Power Platform is, the benefits, the components, and a bit of what Power Platform can help us do as an individual or as a business. And the second day was more on Power Apps on its own, trying to show different parts of the Power Apps, what Canvas app looks like, what Model Living apps or Power Page is, and also we did a walk around the Power Apps Development Studio, and we did a lot of the different components and the different settings in terms of display and how to share your app. And we have our videos on YouTube. You can check through the MEQuest org channel for you to be able to see our videos on Power Platform. And the second day was more on Power Apps on its own, trying to show different parts of the Power Apps, what Canvas app looks like, what Model Living apps or Power Page is, and also we did a walk around the Power Apps Development Studio, and we did a lot of the different components and the different settings in terms of display and how to share your app. And we have our videos on YouTube. You can check through the MEQuest org channel for you to be able to see our videos on Power Platform. We did a bit the last class, and this class I'm going to show you how we built our support ticket system and how to integrate the automation part of it. I'm also going to teach you how to make it visually appealing for your users, right? There are a lot of people that do these solutions. Even in a day you can build a solution, but the most important question is your development, or if is your design user friendly, right? And when we're done with the different screens, I'm going to show you how I did different screens, how to do containers that are going to be hidden, and how to make it visible so it looks like pop-up applications, right? So instead of adding too many screens in your application, sometimes all you need is just a container to toggle open and toggle back to be closed. I'm going to teach you how to do amazing menus that are going to be beautiful in terms despite the device looking at it or using the user. And when I'm done with everything concerning this support system, I'm going to do another advanced class that will make us know how to make your designs responsive to device, right? So it's better for us to know how to build these things first before we start doing mobile first kind of development. But the good news is that no matter what you build on Power apps, especially Canvas app, you can also make it to be responsive to device. And I'm going to teach you all of this step by step. And whatever I teach today is going to be useful no matter the kind of application you want to build. I always focus more on building solutions that are very user friendly, just because Power Apps has the tools or has restricted tools, like limited tools, I would say, to build your app or your solution doesn't mean you should just drag and drop. Like you try to put gallery, there's a default setting, but you can actually change every component in your gallery. Even your forms has a default view. You can always change the component of your forms. So I'd like all of you to practice along as I'm going to be showing you step by step to take your time to practice. And if you have any concerns, any questions, always reach out to MEQuest. It's a mentorship program. It means I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be with you guys and see you through your project. Whatever the solution is you want to build for your organizations, reach out to MEQuest to see if they can guide you and how to make it more professionally designed. All our mentorship programs remains free. We just want to help you. Thank you so much. See you. Just to see the benefit of being a citizen developer, and just when I was going through, I tried to compare citizen developer salary statistics with the full stack and the proper software developers, right? And it's very interesting to note that the pay range for software developers was around 84,000. When I mean 84,000, that's in USD, and it's between 84 and 140, right? And the pay range for IT managers is 116 to 191. Of course, you know, IT managers do a lot of stuff. However, the average salary for sitting developer is 110 for USD, which is very, very great, if I must say, because citizen development you can dive into without background in the IT field. But for you to become an IT manager, for you to become a software developer, you need the IT background knowledge, like by all means. But being a citizen developer, most of the job applications recently is that they just ask you if you have one or two certifications on like the Microsoft certifications. So it means it's a good opportunity for you to advise people who, even if they study statistics or study any other course, but it's very easy. We're going to see the benefit moving forward. I just thought I'd share that. And also, this says that by 2024, 80% of technology products and services will be built by professionals outside of IT. This particular research was concluded in 2021. And when 2023, it means by next year, most of this product will be built by people like you and I, who, no, I actually studied IT, but for most of us that studied something else, but it will be a good, at least you see that even 42% of student developer use tools designed for them specifically. So this is just to encourage us. Yeah, the class might look like, oh, maybe you feel like this is not something that will give you what you want, but trust me, a lot of enterprise environment, they don't even know. I don't really want to spill too much, but a lot of them that they don't even know that you can use these platforms to build things that they've been paying for. All right, so moving in. We're going to be building a support ticket system today. And I felt like, okay, for most of us, I don't know the use or the definition. Yeah. So I thought of adding it there. And support system, often referred to as a help desk or customer support system. Now, whatever you learn today, you might use the same knowledge to do things like inventory, to do things like tracking, any kind of application that has to do with tracking, right? You can use the same knowledge to build it. Any kind of system that has to do with users filling forms, sending to the database, people looking at the result and tracking for maybe analysis and all that, you can use the same knowledge, right? So support system is used to manage and track customer inquiries, service requests, technical issues, and other support-related interactions. It serves as a centralized system for handling customer support and ensuring that customer issues are addressed efficiently and effectively. So some of the key components, like if we do our research if we do our research before building, you discover like there are some important screens, right, that we need to put in mind before building a support system. And the first one is people should be able to create new tickets, right? Another one is that ticket needs to be managed. So ticket is being created, and then there's also the management part of it, and there's also the tracking part of it. So sometimes you can build your support ticket in a way that the user who reads the ticket can see the progress rate, right? If you want to use it to be user-centered, you see that when maybe I ask, most of the support tickets today don't really have that. But if you're building it in-house, you can put something like when someone is working on your ticket, you can be able to see an alert. Oh, that okay, this person is working on your ticket, and then you see a brief timeline of when it will be resolved, right? But however, if you don't want to make it too complex, you can just deal with tickets being the tracking of the ticket to be seen by just the supporting itself. And also, one of the components to put in is the automation part of your support ticket. There should be an automated email that should be sent to the team and also the user who created the support ticket also. And sometimes if you're building some of these Power Apps, many people don't know how to use it. In my own case, I normally put an extra page that describes different features of the particular system I'm building, or I make a separate PDF to explain with screenshots. So sometimes you might want to add also a knowledge base so that people can be able to know this, what to see or how to use their system, this system. If you're building something like an inspection app, which is the same thing you're going to learn today, you can use it. So you just need to do an extra screen that will be able to teach people how to use that inspection app. And also reporting and analysis. If it's something very complex or you're working for a big organization, you can do your reporting in Power BI, of which we're also going to learn how to clean data and how to load them and how to do basic reporting and even complex reporting as well. So, but for very minor apps, you can do your reporting in the Power Platform itself using chat and all those pie and all those stuff that is there on our design studio. So one thing we should also know that support ticket systems are commonly used in various industry, including IT support, customer service, and also technical support to manage a streamlined customer interaction. So they help organizations provide more efficient and responsive support to their customers while also enabling them to connect valuable data for continuous improvement. You can also do some research to see how much it costs for an organization to use a third-party support system, ticket system. Sometimes the pay per agent, I think, is in dollars, maybe $30 to $60 per month for a particular agent. So if your organization is big and you have like 3 agents that respond to support ticket, you can imagine how much the organization will be paid, while you can just do something very simple, interactive, and even customize it with Power. So support system is very important. And most of the requests we had was for us to train on this and also share. So I'm very excited for us to go through this one. So without wasting time, we'll start. I would start with us starting to build. Yeah, these are landing. And from here, just like I showed you the last time, we're going to click on create. But maybe before I start, I should just give you a rundown of what we'll be building. So this is what we'll be building. We have the landing. It might not be this exact because I like changing stuff, but I can get as close as possible. But it might not be, maybe with something more visual appealing. I don't know, depending on how the spirit leads. And I'm going to show you how we create this button. And there's a secret that is very important on how I did this. And I'm going to show you what happens and how this is jumping in and out, right? and it's just a component that has some variable, and I'll teach that today. And we have the management part. So this is supposed to be a dashboard, and that will have like the total count of this. I'm going to show you how I counted this from the gallery. I'm also going to show you how I did this menu. And I'm also going to show you the management of this support tickets. All of these things, very less code or no code at all. So I'm going to show you how it's the same process of how I got the form out. That's how we got this. So it's a component, a container that is hidden, that hides and comes out. So we can also change to list view, grid view. And I'll show you the tracking, the trick behind this, and how to know if it's concluded or if it's something we're not going to fix. I'm also going to show you how I modify the form. This is a form. And the important thing of our entire training today is that for you to be exceptional in whatever you do with the Power Platform, try not to depend on the default. If I depended on the default, this stuff will not be as good as it is. Even on phone, it's very nice. So this is what we'll be building today. Very powerful difference is that in Canvas app, your design, every component of your Canvas app is dependent on you. It means the design of how you want it to look is even if you had data, you're the one to structure how you want it to look. Responsiveness is fully dependent on you, the designer. But in model-driven app, the responsiveness is already being taken care of, right? It's not as beautiful as Canvas app, but in terms of logic and flows and all of those things is much easier. So most organizations, I can tell you that 70% to 80% of organizations just build model-driven app. Like they just start. If they want to do anything in the organization that has to do with maybe to check invoice or to check anything, they just start with modern driven, right? But it takes people who have good visual design skills, and also people who really like to be in charge of their design to create a Canvas app. Besides, Canvas app, I think, is more presentable, and you can actually customize it better than model-driven app. So I'm going to start with a blank Canvas app, and our app is going to be MEQuest support tickets. I'm going to be using tablets because this will be, I'm assuming that I'm building this system for an organization, and most of them will be accessing it through a landscape view. However, I'm going to teach you after this class, or maybe a special class or something, on how to build a modern driven app that is mobile, like responsive. Like this is a time tracking stuff. I'll just show you a demo. This is a time tracking app, and you see that when it's in full screen, it's like this. But if I want to maybe put it in a mobile, if a mobile phone wants to access it, it turns this way. If an iPhone 11 is looking at this, it turns this way. And even if it's maybe Samsung or whatever it is. So soon I'm going to show you how you can build app that is going to be responsive to devices. But for now, we'll stick to at least trying to know what we're doing. Let's try to understand what we're trying to build before we start doing extra stuff. So I'm going to use the tablet view, and we'll start with, sorry, I wasn't recording my screen. Okay, yeah. All right, so first, we need to identify the number of screen. If we're going to be collaborating on this, first we need a welcome screen. Like you can tell me, you can suggest if you have anything to say. first we have to have our welcome screen. I like to put a welcome screen because I feel it's rude for you to just have people open your app and the next thing they just start seeing a lot of information. There should be a break somehow so they could be able to at least digest what you're trying to, what you want them to achieve, right? So I'm going to build, like, if I want to do a landing, I'm trying to insert, I don't know, I didn't do a sketch of how I want the front to be, but I'm just going to try not to, okay, I'll try to copy what I've already done before. And this is just a rectangle box, right? A rectangle. And then if you look at the right panel of our design board, you'll see that we have different colors, and then we can change the color. For now, this is the only thing we can actually use in designing this. There's nothing else you can use to design this. If you want maybe some custom color, maybe if a company gives you their logo and their custom color is maybe green or something, green or yellow, you need to you come to the custom side and then you choose maybe the exact color they want. Of course, you know codes. So every color has a code. Google can help you explain that. You can put the code here and that exact company color from their logo will be the same color with whatever your panel is. Now, you can put in a button. You can insert a button, which is this one. You can choose how you want your button to be. You can, let me say, for this, we have the button name. We can put, like, let me say, this will be like maybe new ticket, right? I could put new ticket, or I could put maybe access code. Let me lock the screen. I'll teach you this one. So I'll put in a text box. Text label is just like having a write-up without just explaining that insert access code. I don't know how fast we can build this thing. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is that I'm assuming that even if you're not building maybe a support system, if you're building maybe a support system that is going to be used by both the support team and the staff of your company, you can use an access code to direct people on the buttons that will be visible for them, right? So that's too big, actually. It doesn't make it. So I can say, okay, insert access code, and then I put in, not an edit form, sorry, I'm too fast. I can put in text input field. So this is just like part of the form property. So it's expected that whoever accesses this app will be able to put some codes here. And for you to change, because I'm making this act like a password. So if you leave it, I hope you guys are seeing I don't think this thing can be big enough. The right panel, you can decide how you want your text input value to be. So if the text is if it's text, it will only accept text. If it's in numbers, it will only accept number. So for now, I want text, and then I can choose if I want single line. These are basic form fields, single line, multiple line, or password. So I'll be needing password. So once I click the password here, anything I write will not be visible anymore. And then I can then make my buttons now. I can say new tickets. So the idea is that if you put an access code that is dedicated for the support team itself, you can have access to all the pages. But if you come in and you're just a user, it will allow you to just add new support. You don't really have any other thing to do in the system. So just to make this uniform, I'll copy I'll copy the custom, that's the same color I use because I want it to be uniform. And I'll make that my button color as well. So I'll paste the same color here, and I've gotten the color. So this will be for my new tickets. I'm trying to make this beautiful. Okay, and then I can make, this will be ticket management or manage tickets. To manage tickets. And I copy and I paste. And I have the third one, which is like maybe ticket tracker or something. Okay, this is like the basic, I don't know if I should add one more, but okay, I can put report on analysis. Ticket reports. So when you're designing your own system, you can choose how you want yours to be. So just for the sake of, please, anybody you can stop me if you have any question, if I'm too fast.
All right. Quick question. On the access, insert access code where you have the password, I'm trying to see where you got that.
Okay.
Where you got.
Okay. If you click on the text itself, on the right part, you see the mode of, yeah. You can decide for it to be password. Okay, good. Cool. So, okay, so now we've gotten our landing. I'm going to insert. Let me show you how to insert. So supposing I want to insert the company logo, of course, it will be nice when they see their logo on their support system. No more, can't even mention all those third-party names because I don't know if, okay. The next thing, you can come into your insert and then you come down to media, and under media, you can put image. So once you insert the image, it will then give you different options on what you should do. So by the right again, which is always where you see all the properties of every element, you can see the image, you can choose any one. So sometimes you can put in all the images you use in your application, or you can add them just one after the other, as much like whenever you need them. Okay, so now I have the logo there. I can also, just for learning's sake, I can decide how I want the logo to be. If I want it to fill, if I want it to stretch, if I want it to do anything, but I'm just going to do fit, and then I reduce it based on the size I want. And this is all we need. All I need to do now is to decide on what the users will be able to see. I want these buttons, this is just one, if you can write down. I want these buttons to be able to be disabled if a particular user. So by default, when you come to this app, it's assuming that you're just an ordinary user, just a company or whoever, just a user. And then the new ticket button will always be there. But these three buttons will be disabled except the support team inserts a particular code. So I'm going to take by the tree view, which is the left, you can see the name of the element, which is text input 1. I'm going to rename it to maybe check text, check access. So that's the name of my input. So I'm going to check the value of this to be able to control how these buttons will be. But before I do that, the buttons are still not fine. So I selected all, and then I want to put in some padding. So we also have, by the right, we have different padding. Padding means the space at the top. So padding top is a space by the top, and then by the bottom is the space by below the element, and then we have the left and the right. So because I want to put an icon by the left side of each of these buttons, I want to make the padding to be, it looks like I'm now teaching UI UX instead of to teach Power Platform. So I'm going to make it 15, and then I'm going to have enough space. I actually put that in the top. I'm supposed to put it in the left. So by the left is not even enough. I'll try 25. Still not enough. I'll try 35. Okay, looks good. So sorry, icon, we come down. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I'm touching every part. So from the insert, you come to your icon, which is all of these parts from here are the icons. These ones are the popular stuff I normally use. But from the icon, this is media. From the icon, I can choose any icon I want. Now, if I see an icon, maybe I'm searching for a particular icon and I can't see it, you don't need to worry yourself. You don't need to scroll down. Just pick any icon you like, bring it down the way you want, and then come to the left. From the icon bar, that's a property, you can now see different types of icons. So it's much easier for you to select here, and you can also search for a particular icon. So if I say add, I see the particular button I want. Then I make it white, which is the A, is for the color. The other one that looks like a paint drop is for the background. Also, you can reduce it to make it look this, like this shows that it's a new ticket. And I'm going to copy this and I'll paste it on this one. And manage, I can look for any icon. Manage could be, I can use this, it's just, is what I feel like using. I copy again, sorry. I can copy this and paste it. And for tracker, I can use, let me see if there's scroll. I can use anything. I can use a tray. I don't know. I can use anything I want. And then for reports, I know I will always get reports. Report will be something that has to do with partial. So I can use chat will be fine. Come. Why can't I use analysis? Trying to go by the name, maybe that's not. Should that thing be that symbol? It will be this one, trending. Can you imagine? How am I supposed to remember trending upward? Okay. Anyway, so that's it. So we have our front page a bit, at least it's fine, not too bad. So what I need to do is I will try to group them. The reason I'm going to group them, I'll tell you, if I don't group this button and maybe someone comes here and they're using their mouse and they click this, the button might respond, but sometimes they come in and click just the icon. And if they click the icon, it won't do anything and they might feel like your app isn't even working, right? So the best thing is that you group your icon and the button to act like one. So I Control G, for those using Apple, Command G, or you can just right click and then group, right? So that's the same thing I'm going to do. Right clicking, I group. Sorry, I've gone to press my database something. Say I'm grouping. And this is it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate these to different screens before I lock them. So what I'll do is that I'm going to say the mode of this will be the display mode is what tells if the button is disabled or if the button is editable, right? So for you to start a new ticket, by default is an edit mode. It means someone can click it. But if I put it on disabled, you see that no one can click it. I can also change the color to look a bit, instead of this default, it doesn't look fine. I can change the color a bit to have maybe something different. So always the new button ticket will always be, will never be disabled because anyone can add a new ticket. However, for you to be able to manage ticket, you need some form of whatever it is. So I'm going to set, like, if the access check access dot value is let me say just maybe 000. So I'm going to click this, and then I'll put the display mode. So it's in edit. I'm going to say if, don't know if I'm going to, I think I'm going to deep for you. If this particular check access dot text if it's equal to, let me say 1 2 3 4 5, then it will be edit, else it will be disabled. Display mode of disable. All right, so it means that, but I need to make the disable color so everyone will know that. I want to change the color so it's not just to verify disabled. Color is too dark. Anyway, so I can still leave it. All right, so all this work will do is that, how many zeros? 1 2 3 4 5. How many zeros did I actually put? 5 zeros. It's actually text, not numbers. So if I put like 5 zeros, you see that my managed ticket is no longer disabled. You see, so that's a simple way for you to lock your screen. So as long as you're in here and you don't have the access code, you might not be able to access these buttons. It means the buttons won't even do anything. So all I need to do is to select these two and disable mode. I'll do the same thing. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, good. So with this, I have access to the buttons. However, the next important thing to do is for us to have different screens. We're going to, before I show you how to add forms and how to do the rest, we actually need to know how to create a list on SharePoint. So how to make our screen. So this is our welcome screen. It means that whenever the launch has happened in the organization, this is actually what they will see. And I think it's also important for us to have display name for PV. Okay, copy and noise. So we can put, at least people should be able to know that this is the support system. Font size can be 15. So much. The color do not need to be that dark. I'm sorry. 17. Support tickets. Okay, all right. So I think we're good to go. Everything looks jam-packed. Anyway. All right, so how to make multiple screen. So we can move forward, right? The next thing on how to make multiple screen is the way I do it more, like instead of starting screens from scratch, I just duplicate my existing screen and then I have multiple screen. So all I do is that I come to the screen and then I duplicate. For you to duplicate screen, you come to the exact screen you want, and then you say duplicate screen. So I'm going to duplicate this to, I'm going to have like, I'm just going to duplicate once because it doesn't make sense for me to duplicate a lot. Why? Because there's the way inside of the app will be for me is different from the way I want the outside of the app to be. So I will rename this as my dashboard. So I'll assume that this will be my dashboard. And then the next thing. So if I enter my dashboard, this is what I see. And I'm just going to delete all of this because in my dashboard, I don't need these things. I really don't need these things. All I need is a menu, a simple menu. And then I could make this like my menu. I can restructure this to be like, maybe something like this. So this will be my menu. I'm going to add my navigation panels to this, and then you can be able to navigate to different pages. So what I'll do to make it, so I'm going to add my text. I need text box. I need a label. Okay. We're just designing is going to make our class more boring. When we upload the video, a lot of this will be made to move very fast. But it's good for us to just have the knowledge. Anyway, so that's for our home. Make it as, and then the next one we have we can have like the dashboard tickets, queue, and all that dashboard. I'll reduce the font because it's too big. 130. You're too big. 1, 2. Good. This one to make it 1, 2 for home. And the next one will be tickets. Tickets. The next one will be queue, just queue and resolved. So these are tickets that are waiting to be resolved, and maybe this one will be all completed, resolved. Now, if you're building yours, you build based on what your organization deal with, right? And then, do I need to put, okay, I'll put one more. Reports. All right. So if we're going to have this like our default menu, it already looks like an app, I must say. You can also, like before you go further, you can try to do, it's another practice I do, you can also try to make a demo of how you want the app to look like. Maybe you put in, even if you don't have your contents ready, you can make like, I'll take this back, take it to backward. Supposing you have maybe a design that is already, maybe you want that to be in front, so you just send to the back. You right click and you send it to the back. I'm trying to touch as much as I can touch. And then, so with this, we have, I can put in maybe the user picture can appear here. I can put an image here. For now, I'm not ready, but whenever I'm ready, I would invoke in front of you so that you can see how the user image will appear here and how the name too will appear here as well. So you can start by putting demo details of what you want. I can put in like this will serve like a mini dashboard. Like this could be counts of some basic stuff, and then I'll put a gallery as well. So we have few minutes, but we'll try to finish as much as we can. Okay. All right. So all I'll do here is to count some of the gallery components and bring the gallery component results back here. So it looks okay. So with this, I can also differentiate it just so we can just, before we finish the entire project, we can then think of what to display in these boxes. What we're trying to do the dashboard of the landing of our support app. So at least some readings can come in here. We can also try to utilize the down for gallery. We'll fix everything in this. This is just a guide. It's a good approach when we're designing. Okay, so I'll quickly go back to the landing, and then we're going to do how to start a new form. So what we've done so far is that we've been able to have at least something we can work with. We can add icons later. And so this screen will be our inner page. And what I'll do is I would multiply this page, and then I'll have one to take care of our ticket, one to take care of the queue, one to take care of resolved issue, one to take care of report, and then setting. But what I want us to do is when someone comes here, and assuming they just want to say something like, I'm having an issue with the iPad you guys supplied for us. They don't really want to get into your app. Trust me, most staff don't even care about what you're building. They just want to make sure that their device is working. So what we need to do is that we want to put the default form, the new form on this page. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to insert a container. I'll search for container. This is my approach, which is, I feel is good. It's been working for me so far. So you put a container, And what I'll do in this container is that it's going to cover the entire app. So most of the app you see that I display, and you see that when you click and there's something like a pop-up appears, this is what I do. So I'm going to click a container, and in this container, I can insert things in it. So in this container, I can insert a text label, and I can say in fill in the form below to submit a what? A ticket. Okay, good. Okay, so this is what I have in this container. And then I can change my color to be this. I'll use blue. Okay, good. So what I need to do now is to insert my form. So this will take us back to, of course, let me make the background a bit light. So no, that's too much, but I'll make it light. So just make this kind of light, Okay, good. All right. So before this, what I'll do is whenever I'll put one quick button, I'll insert an icon, which will be like an X symbol, which signifies close. I can take anything. Okay, this is not even bad. Instead. Okay, good. So I'll make the background of this to be maybe white and the content to be red. And then I'm going to work on the padding because I need some space. Just see the difference. So this is you building a solution for your organization or for any organization that wants to hire you. Maybe you have sample, but you're also trying to put design first. Trust me, especially when there's competition in the recruitment process and they would always ask you to build a sample app, and you're trying to build a sample app and you're not doing it like it's not presentable. It's even if your solution is great, trust me, they won't even pick you. So what I'm going to do is that this will act like my button, and then it's going to close this container, right? So I'm going to put hidden text or hidden field like this. See, I'll put like I'll put this. This is where the secret comes in. I'm going to name this as new ticket. Is it toggle or something? Anything, you can name it anything you want. I'm just running out of what to name it. So I'm naming this new tickets open. You can write it somewhere. And then the text. This is the text. The text by default. I'm just going to leave this text like this. I'm going to tell you what the text will be. So the text is going to be a variable, actually. So the value of the text is going to be, let me say, new tickets. Let me say T. So that's going to be the variable of this particular text. I don't know if you get the point. I actually inserted a normal text box, or a label. Was it even a label? But now I'm going to say that the value of this should remain. Before I hide it, I'll make the background red just so you see. Make it, let me see this color. Just so you see that I'm working with this particular side. I'm going to say that the variable of this, whatever that will be in this text box, should be the value of this variable, and the variable name is var, new ticket. Forget about the fact that I'm calling it variable. Now, how do I set the value of this? I'm going to say that this particular container, which is the new ticket container, I'm also going to rename it so that when I'm referencing it, I can be new tickets. So new ticket container. So I'm going to say that the new ticket container should be visible if this particular value is equal to open. To write it down. So if that variable ticket is equals to open, then this container should be like that, else it should remain closed. So for now it's visible, right? So since it's visible, I'm going to now go ahead and say under this container, remember this is the container, I'm going to come at the top left. This is where you see all the properties, different properties of that particular element. So I'm going to say, go to where we have visible, and I'm going to say for now, the visibility is true. If I put it as false or nothing is there, you see that the main ticket is showing there. So I'll leave it as true. It will be like this. But what I want to do is that I want to make a condition where it will be visible if this value is true. I'm trying to explain because it's just the basic. I'm just trying to use words to explain what I'm trying to achieve, right? So I'm going to say that if this new ticket open, which is the value, new ticket open dot text, if the text is equal to, you see the way I'm writing my syntax. Now, this is where they call this type of application low code. There is completely no code as well, but for this is low code because you still need to write some form of little scripting. So this is not too much. It's just a normal if statement. So if this particular text is equal to open, right? Then true, else false. And if you're new, when you put your syntax, you can see that the suggestions will come. However, the real secret is that even if you start work today as a developer like this, and you have what to build for them is in your head. Just you can go online and see how do I write if, and then you get informations. That's just something that you shouldn't worry about. Just try to think of the solutions and how to do it. So now I've put my statement that if it's true, if it's open, it should be visible, else it should be false. Now the question is that how can this value be open? Because for now, it's telling me that the var new ticket, whatever, it's not even seeing it, right? So now I'm going to say that this particular button on select, it means on select, when you press it, it should now force the value of this to be open. Before I continue, let me ask you one more question. Okay, good. All right. So just to re-explain this, what I'm trying to do is that I have a container, and the container is just like a sheet of paper that is trying to cover what is existing here. But I'm only trying to say that it should be visible to people when they press a button, and it should close when they press another button, right? This is exactly what I have in this place. Once you click new ticket, once you click this, the container appears. You fill the form, you do all the magic you want to do, and then when you're done, you submit your ticket. So once you submit, that thing is somewhere around this form, but nobody knows, right? It's just because it's only me that know, but now you know these things with me. So once you click submit, it's hidden, or when you close this, it's hidden. So that's what I'm trying to implement in the same place, right? So what I'm trying to do now is that I've gotten the value. There is an error here because I've not written or I've not instructed that whenever you click this button, this should be yes. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to select this and I'm going to say on select. On select means when you click it. So on select for now, by default, every button or every icon or everything you insert on Power Apps is clickable, right? It's like a button. Even if I put on this text, it's like a button, right? So now I'm going to say for now, by default is false. False means there is nothing attached to it, but now I want to change it. So I'm going to change it and I'm going to say that on select, it should set. Now, the name of that variable that I've been telling this thing to understand is variable new ticket, right? And it doesn't know any variable new ticket because there is no variable that has been set like that. It doesn't even recognize it. But now I'm going to say that on select, whenever anybody selects this button, it should automatically set this particular variable to be open. So now it's going to set, whenever they click on this, you see no more error because there's actually a variable now called variable new ticket, right? So whenever you click on this, it will force this value to be open and watch now. So when I click, you see that the value of this is now open. And because it's open, this form, this whatever it is, this container now recognizes that, okay, this thing is open. Now, the problem is that if I don't set another variable to close this thing when nobody is using it, or suppose if somebody made a mistake, it means that this form will be open until the person closes the app. And of course, that won't even be what we really want, right? I'm going to make this, the close looks too big for me. Okay, good. All right. So what I'll do now, I don't know, I can ask if it's okay for me to ask. I know this one, everybody will get it. What am I supposed to do? Okay, Nina wants to ask a question. Yes, ask. Nina wants to ask a question. Maybe it's by mistake. All right, so back to what I'm explaining. So for us to, can anyone just tell me what I'm supposed to do at this point? If I have a button that tells this thing to be open, right? What am I supposed to do to let this container close? It's simple logic time. So what I need to do is that I need to click on this icon and I'm going to say that on select, something else should happen, right? On select, it should set that same variable, which is what new ticket. I want it to set this variable to be close. So when I click on this, it's going to set it to be closed. You see, if I click on it, watch this. I'm trying to use my hand to see. You see this part? If I click on it, it turns to open and this is open. If I click on it, it turns to close and this is closed. So all I need to do is that I've solved one problem. I need to hide this because if someone is using my application and they see this, they are going to ask you, so what's this? Like I see this close, what does it mean? And doesn't make any sense, right? So the best thing you're supposed to do is to click on this and then you hide it. So I'm going to make the visibility of it, which is at the right. I'm going to toggle it to not, like I'll put it off. So it means it will not be visible anymore. And so once it's not visible, it means that you've been able to manipulate the application, adding variables under. So that's just the syntax of what we do or what I do to be able to put so many things. So with this knowledge alone, I would run you through how this particular effect alone can works. Now, the next thing we're supposed to do before I move forward in the next very short time is on this container, I can now insert form. This is where I now insert my edit form. You see that in your insert, you have so many things. In your input, you can insert so many things there. So I'm just going to insert edit form. So when I insert edit form, I'm going to now select where I want the form to be. But before we go forward, and then I teach you about the form and what to do, I would want to run you down on the different aspects where you can hide variable, because I like to see your project where you can hide variable and then manipulate a lot of stuff. On here, before you start your app, you come to your data. That's your data, the data you're going to use with your app, and then you click on different connectors. We have tables, we have AI models, we have normal connectors. From the connectors, we have planner. You can build a Power Apps from any of these connectors here. There are even more connectors, like more. There are so many places you can take data from and build. That's why we keep on saying that Power Apps is powerful, but many people don't really know. You can make a app based on all of these third-party applications. Some of these applications are not even Microsoft applications, but I'm going to just quickly link it up to SharePoint, which is what we would work with. SharePoint, which is this one. And then from the SharePoint, I can choose the list I want. I'm using a normal list. So I have like different sites. This one is just for people SharePoint. You don't really need it. And then I'm going to look at these are different lists. I'll connect to this. All right, so I just connect to this for demo purpose. And then on my form, I can add this eventually. So that's how to add your list or whatever it is to your app. You can see that the app is coming close to what we really want to achieve. So for it to be visible, you have to click on the item, right? You need to click on the data source and then you say the default mode should be new. So if it's new, you're not editing a form. I'll teach you all of those things later. So I have my toggle for new ticket and to close it. So what I'll do now is to show you the different places where we use hiding of different fields with that same concept. So we have it in our new ticket. We actually have it here, which is what I use in making sure that this form is out and down. We also have it in this place. What I did was when a particular what's the name, text field is open or collapse or expand, if I click, it should expand it. If I click it again, it should close it. And I'll show you that. So if you look at my button, and you see on select, why is it wasting time to know that? I'm so sorry for this. Okay, so on select, it's setting a variable called variable menu to expand. Now, when you click on it, it will expand it. I'll close it again, and then I'll show you what this other button is. So when it's on expand, that button is going to hide itself. And then this second button, which is the one that closes it, it's on select of that particular button. It's now setting the variable menu to collapse. So you see the difference. I'm going to look on the chart. Okay, Nina, when you're ready, you can ask your question.
Hi, how
just
you doing?
Unmute. Yeah, good. I can hear you now. Okay.
Thank you. I was asking if we have any kind of documentation for any of these Okay, you said local.
The recordings. Yeah, we have
documentation.
That's a slide.
No, like you know how Python can have its own documentation, so you can go read through it and see
Okay.
how the
yeah.
Do we have that
There's a
for
lot of resources. Yeah, there's a lot of resources on Microsoft Learn about PowerApps or Canvas. So there are a lot of things, how to get it activated and all that. That's where all the documentation is. Even on the Microsoft Learn part of it, or the resources of it, you'll see that they will even explain how to use some of the functions.
Okay.
So, let me say documentation. Because you mentioned documentation on PowerApps instead of Power Platform, but you see link, and then you see powerapps.microsoft.com. So it's going to explain a lot of things about it, blah, 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 build with codes and different stuff, right? Okay, so back to our stuff. So that's the same thing I did here. And this button is collapsing it. So that's the trick. With what I just explained in hiding and opening containers with variable, that's the exact thing you can do to get, because it won't even make any sense if I start creating this menu in one section. But the same thing I did, I can show you even the text box. That's how you expand and you collapse. You expand and you collapse, right? That's one part I used it. The next part that I used that solution is on this tickets part. I use that same method to be able to show me green when the status is completed, to be able to show me yellow when it's in progress, to be able to show me red when I've already set it as it won't fix. The same thing I did under I, critical, normal. I'll teach you how I brought the gallery, but how I got this to show green, yellow, red, and all this is just the secret behind it. It's not something I learned anywhere. It's something I was able to just use my brain to be able to think of something, right? So at least I'm telling you that for free. Then there's also a grid system. So what I did is that I have two galleries. One is a list and the other one is a grid. They are all sitting on different containers. I've set a variable, which I'll show you now. This same video will go on YouTube so anyone can see and copy it. So on this grid, when you click on the grid, it sets the grid view to be grid. And all I've done is that there's a grid view gallery. When it's grid, it should open. When it's not, when it's list, it should change to list. So that's also the same secret or the same thing I did. If you click on grid, it shows everything in a grid format. If you click on list, it shows everything in a list format, right? Then that same thing I taught you just now is what I used in this edit icon. If you click on the icon, it triggers a container that has different, like a field, like a form, edit form. I'll teach you how form can edit from a particular gallery list. That will be in our next class. But this one I've taught you now, that's how I did, that's what I did for you to be able to open this form, submit the form. When you update the ticket, it submits it and also it closes it. So this is another place I utilize that same skill. I'm going to tell you another one. Even in the queue, I also used it to be able to tell me when it's normal. So when it's normal, normal will be visible. When it's low, low will be visible. So you can still use variable setting to be able to edit the colors of things and the status of things. I'll still show you that one. So if you look at this sidebar, you will see that, I think this is a bit complicated, but I will show you this one this class. I'll show you next class, because if I show you now, I'm confusing you. I have nested if in one if. I'm sure that's not what you want to be focused on now. So, but on this normal stuff. I think this one is if the text is, I touched the color, which is the fill, should be in the fill color. So in the fill color, this is not variable, but in the fill color, what I said is if this item dot status dot value is in progress, it should be red. And if it's not, it should just be in the other color. This is actually red color, yeah. And this one is the orange color, you see. All right, so just to recap before we close, with using variable to hide container and to open container, we can build any kind of system that can actually act like a user password kind of system, right? We can use that to hide some field. We can use that to hide some buttons. We can use that using variable to disable some buttons. We can use that same variable setting off and on to be able to hide container, make it visible and not make it visible, right? And then we can also use hiding setting variables to be able to do menus, interactive menus that can expand and that can collapse, right? We can also use variable setting to be able to do things beautiful. That's just the idea behind this particular interface for list. If I insert a gallery for you, this is how a normal gallery will look like. That same gallery you're seeing there will look like this. I'll show you. By default, if I'm just going to depend on the default gallery, so our next class, we won't talk much about this part of hiding and container because you already know hiding and collapsing. So I'm going to do a lot of containers that will hide, we'll bring them in, and then we're going to work on how to make beautiful interactive forms and also gallery that are very interactive. If I want to put the same gallery you see there in that other fine interface, this is how a default gallery looks like. So this is how it looks like. There's nothing else you can do to this gallery to make it more beautiful. This is how it will look like. But you can see that what we have in the other place and what we have here is not even the same, right? So this is what we have. This is what Microsoft will give you by default. If you're lucky, you can change it. Maybe you can touch on it and then you can change the view from the layout. You can get different layouts like this. So that's all for today. And is there any question? So our next class, we're going to work on the menu and we're going to work on making the form more presentable, and also we're going to work on gallery. With those 3 lessons, we'll be able to conclude, and then I'm going to show you other places that we use different kind of gallery and forms. Any question?